Marriage is a political decision. Who you marry tells me who you are. The pride is superficial. It's intellectual, but it's not internalized. For example, we had a lot of great scholars. Take my ancestor, Frederick Douglass, who knew their history and still married white women. How did that happen? Now, yes, he was an old man. I give him that. His first wife, Anna Murray Douglas, a blue, black, purple chocolate woman with nappy hair of 50 years, who birthed all of his children. It was after she died that he married the white woman, but nonetheless, he married a white woman. Had Frederick Douglass not married that white woman, he would be undisputably the greatest black leader that ever walked on American soil. But because of that one mistake that he made. But the question again is, why did he do that? I think to some extent, and I can say this, he suffered some of the Barack Obama, W.E.B. Du Bois syndrome. And that is when you are mixed racial ancestry, which I don't even like to talk about because 300 years ago, there was no biracial or multiracial. If your father was white or your mother was white, you were still African. See, this is a modern thing, this whole multicultural movement. You never had that. Frederick Douglass was never called biracial. He was never called multiracial. He was called the N-word like the rest of us. There was no separation until the 20th century when America realized that we can use black people against themselves by giving them a new set of identities that allows them to disidentify from each other and identify more appropriately with us. But the point I'm making is the reason Frederick was able to do that is because deep down within himself, he may have still screamed for that validation. Marriage is a political decision. Who you marry tells me who you are. When you marry a woman, you don't just marry her. You marry her culture, you marry her community, you marry her people. You understand? So when a black man marries a white woman, he's making several clear points and messages he's sending out to his own people. Because there's no greater symbol of your loyalty to your struggle than to marry a sister who shares that struggle. Loving versus Virginia, and y'all need to see the movie. It just came out a few months ago. 1957, right about around that time, a white man named Loving from Virginia sued up to the Supreme Court for the right to marry a black woman. Up until then, several states still had anti-miscegenation law. After they struck down anti-miscegenation law across the country, 1957 or 67, somewhere within there, black men have married outside their race envy more than the men of all other races in America put together as a percentage. How do you explain that? Is love purely blind? I disagree. Love is a function of your values and your priorities. I would argue the reason black men marry white women is because they wish they were white themselves. And having the white man's prize, his queen, is a psychological symbol to myself that I am equal to him. So you can't be in love with white women and not at the same time feel inferior to white males. Can't separate love from politics. Love is the most political thing.